So let's start the next topic, that is SSL message formats. So as we have discussed, messages from the three protocols and data from the application layer are encapsulated in the record protocol messages. Basically, the record protocol message encapsulates messages from four different sources at the sender side, and at the receiver side the record protocol decapsulates the messages and delivers them to different destinations. So in this session we are going to discuss various topics, that are change cypherspex protocol, alert protocol, handshake protocol, and application data. The record protocol has a general header that is added to each message coming from the sources. So basically this header contains four fields. First one is protocol. This is 1 byte field, defines the source or destination of the encapsulated message. It is used for the multiplexing and demultiplexing. So the values are 20 for change cypherspex protocol, 21 for alert protocol, and 22 for handshake protocol, and finally 23 for the application layer. Then second is version. This 2 byte field defines the version of the SSL. 1 byte is the majority version and the other is minor. Like the current version of SSL is 3.0, where major is 3 and minor is 0. And third one is the length. This 2 byte field defines the size of the message. For change cypherspex message, the change cypherspex protocol has only one message, that is the change cypherspex message, and the message is only 1 byte encapsulated in the record protocol message with the protocol value 20, as you can see in this figure. And the 1 byte field in the message is called the CCS, and currently its value is 1. The next one is alert protocol. The alert protocol, as we have discussed, has one message that reports errors in the process. As you can see in the figure, it shows the encapsulation of this single message in the record protocol with protocol value 21, and the two fields that are labeled. This 1 byte defines the level of the error, and two labels have been defined so far, like warning and fatal. And description, it says that the 1 byte description defines the type of error. For handshake protocol, several messages have been defined for the particular handshake protocol. So all of these messages have the 4 byte generic header. As you can see in this figure, the figure shows that record protocol header and the generic header for the handshake protocol. So there are different fields in type. This 1 byte field defines the type of message. So far 10 types of messages have been defined. And next one is length. This 3 byte field defines the length of the message, excluding the length of the type and the length field. So there are two type of length fields here, like one is for the general record header and another one is generic header for the handshake message. And requirement of this two type of length is because of that a record message may carry two handshake messages at the same time if there is no need for another message in between. In the header of the handshake protocol, in the field type, which is 1 byte, which defines the type of message, and so far 10 types of message have been defined, and those are the 10 types of message, where type 0 stands for hello request and 1 stands for client hello. So please go through this table once. You can have fair idea about different type of message and their meaning. Moving to hello request message. The hello request message, which is rarely used, it is a request from the server to the client to restart a session. This may be needed if the server feels that something is wrong with the session and need a fresh session. For example, if the session becomes so long that it threatens the security of the session, then server may send this message to the client, and then client needs to send a client hello message and need to negotiate the security parameters. As you can see in this figure, the field, that is type, is 0 and method doesn't have any body, so the value of the length field is also 0. Client hello message. The client hello message is the first message exchanged during the handshaking. The field type and length we have discussed earlier. So let's discuss about the version. This 2-byte field shows the version of the SSL which is used. The version 3.0 is for the SSL and 3.1 for the TLS. One point to remember that the version value, for example 3.0, is stored in 2 bytes, that is 3 is the first byte and 0 is the second. Then next one is client random number. This 32-byte field is used for the client to send the client random number, which creates the security parameters. Then next one is session ID length. Session ID length is 1-byte field, defines the length of the session ID. If there is no session, then the value is 0. Then session ID, the value of this variable length field is 0. When the client starts a new session, the session ID initiated by the server. However, if a client wants to resume a previously stopped session, it can include the previously defined session ID in this field. Next one is supershoot length. This 2-byte field defines the length of the client proposed supershoot list. And next one is cipher shoot list. This variable length field gives the list of cipher shoots that the client supports. The field lists the cipher shoot from the most preferred to the least preferred. Each cipher shoot is encoded as the 2-byte number. Then next one is compression method length. This 1-byte field defines the length of the client proposed compression method. Then next one is compression method list. So this variable length field gives the list of compression methods that the client supports, and the field lists the method from the most preferred to the least preferred. Here each method is encoded as a 1-byte number. So far the only method is the null method, which is no compression. In this case, the value of the compression method length is 1, and the compression method list has only one element with the value of 0. Server hello message. The server hello message is the response from the server to the client hello message. Here the format is similar to the client hello message but with fewer fields. So here the version field is the same, and the server random number field defines a value selected by the server, and the session ID length and the session ID field are the same as those in the client hello message. However, the session ID is usually blank unless the server is resuming an old session. That means if the server allows a session to resume, it inserts a value in the session ID field to be used by the client if the client wishes to reopen an old session. So the selected cipher shoot field defines the single cipher shoot selected by the server from the list of cipher shoots sent by the client, and the compression method field defines the method selected by the server from the list of the compression method sent by the client. Next one is certificate message. The certificate message can be sent by the client or by the server to list the chain of public key certificates. So this is the format. Here the type, the value of the type field is 11, and the body of the message contains certificate chain length. This 3-byte field shows the length of the certificate chain. The field is redundant because its value is always 3 less than the value of the length field. The next one is certificate chain. This variable length field lists the chain of public key certificates that the client or the server carries. For each certificate, there are two subfields that are a 3-byte length field, and second one is the variable size certificate itself. Server key exchange message. The server key exchange message is sent from the server to the client. So this is the format, and the message contains the keys generated by the server, and the format of the message is dependent on the ciphertext selected in the previous message. The client that receives the message needs to interpret the message according to the previous information. If the server has sent a certificate message, then the message also contains a sign parameter. Certificate request message. The certificate request message is sent from the server to the client. The message asks the client to authenticate itself to the server using one of the acceptable certificates and one of the certificate authorities named in the message. Then there are different fields here. So the value of the type field is 13. Then the first field is length of the certificate types. This one byte field shows the length of the certificate types. Then certificate types. This variable length field gives the list of public key certificate types that the server accepts, where each type is 1 byte. Then length of certificate authorities. This 2 byte field gives the length of the certificate authorities. Then length of a certificate authority X name. This 2 byte field defines the length of X certificate authority name, and the value X can be between 1 to n. Then certificate authority X name. This variable length field defines the name of the X certificate authority, and the value of X can be between 1 to n. So next one is server hello done message. This is the format. So this particular message is the last message sent in the second phase of the handshaking protocol, and this message signals that phase 2 doesn't carry any extra information. Certificate verify message. The certificate verify message is the last message of phase 3. In this message, the client proves that it actually owns the private key related to its public key certificate. To do so, the client creates a hash of all handshake messages that are being sent before this particular message and signs them using the MD5 or SHA-1 algorithm based on the certificate type of the client. So basically this is the format of certificate verify message. So here is the diagram how hash is calculated for certificate verify message. If the client private key is related to DSS certificate, then we are going to use only one hash function, that is on SHA-1 algorithm, and the length of the hash is 20 bytes. And if the client private key is related to an RSA certificate, then we are going to use two hash function. One is based on MD5 and another one is based on SHA-1. So total length will be 16 plus 20, that is 36 bytes. So this is all about how we are going to calculate hash for the certificate verify message. Client key exchange message. This is the second message which is sent during the third phase of handshaking. In this message, the client provides the keys, and the format of the message depends on the specific key exchange algorithm that is selected by the two parties. Finished message. The finished message shows that the negotiation is over, and it contains all the messages exchanged during the handshaking, and followed by the sender role, master secret, and the padding. And the exact format of the message depends on the type of ciphertext we have used, and this is the general format. In finished message, as we are using the concatenation of two hash functions, two hashes, so this is the method how the hash is calculated for the finished message. One point to remember that when the client or server sends the finished message, it has already sent the change cipherspace message, like the write cryptography secrets are in the active states, and the client or the server can treat the finished message like a data fragment coming from the application layer, and the finished message can be authenticated using the message authentication code in the cipher suite, and encrypted like using the encryption algorithm in the cipher suite. Application data. The record protocol adds a signature at the end of the fragment which comes from the application layer, and then encrypts the fragment with the MAC, and the record protocol transmits it after adding the general header with protocol value 23. Into next topic, that is TLS, transport layer security. So these two are, that is SSL and TLS, almost very similar with slight difference. So let's discuss about the difference between the TLS and SSL. So these are the topics that need to be discussed in this section, that are version, cipher suite, generation of cryptographic secrets, alert protocol, handshake protocol, and record protocol. So the first difference between SSL and TLS is the version number, that is major and minor. The current version of SSL is 3.0 and the current version of TLS is 1.0. Like SSL 3.0 is compatible with TLS version number 1.0. The next minor difference between SSL and TLS is the lack of support for the Fortizza method. TLS doesn't support Fortizza for the key exchange or for the encryption and decryption. We have already discussed various kind of cipher suites supported by SSL. So this particular table shows that various kind of cipher suite supported by TLS, and as I said, TLS doesn't support Fortizza, so TLS doesn't use Fortizza for any kind of key exchange or encryption algorithm. Generation of cryptographic secrets. The generation of cryptographic secrets in TLS is more complex compared to SSL. TLS first defines two functions, that are data expansion functions and the pseudorandom function. So let's discuss about the data expansion function. The data expansion function uses a predefined HMAC which helps to expand a secret into a longer one. This particular function can be considered as a multi-section function where each section creates one hash value. The extended secret is the concatenation of the hash values. Here each section uses two HMACs, a secret and a seed. The data expansion function is the chaining of as many sections as required. However, to make the next section dependent on the previous one, the second seed is actually the output of the first HMAC of the previous section. Pseudorandom function. TLS defines a pseudorandom function to be the combination of two data expansion functions, one using MD5 and another using SHA-1. Pseudorandom function takes three inputs, that are a secret, a label and a seed. The label and seed are concatenated and serve as the seed for each data expansion function. The secret is divided into two halves. Each half is used as the secret for the each data expansion function, and the output of the data expansion functions is XORed together to create the final expanded secret. Here we are going to discuss the generation of master secret in TLS. TLS uses pseudorandom function to create master secret from the p-master secret, and this is achieved by using the p-master secret as the secret and the string master secret as the label, and the concatenation of the client random number and the server random number as the seed. Key material generation in TLS. TLS uses the pseudorandom function to create the key materials from the master secret. This time the secret is the master secret, the label is the string key expansion, and the seed is the concatenation of the server random number and the client random number. Alert protocol. TLS supports all of the alerts defined in SSL except for no certificate, and TLS also adds some of the new onto the list. So we'll discuss all about this in the next slides. So this is the table which shows list of all kind of alert messages defined for TLS. Handshake protocol. TLS has made some changes in handshake protocol, specifically in the details of the certificate verify message and the finish message. Certificate verify message in SSL, the hash used in the certificate verify message is the two-step hash of the handshake messages plus a paired and plus a master secret. But in TLS, it has simplified the process. Here the hash is only over the handshake messages. In TLS, the calculation of the hash for the finished messages also been changed, as TLS uses pseudorandom function to calculate two hashes used for the finished messages. The last one is record protocol. This figure shows how the HMAC is formed. The only change in the record protocol is the use of HMAC for signing the message. TLS uses message authentication code to create the HMAC, and TLS also adds the protocol version to the text to be signed.